So this is the Tofu TKL by KBDFans, to which I have no affiliation with whatsoever, just purely coincidental. And this 6-pound behemoth of a keyboard just might be the last one that I share with y'all. It's kind of like a full circle moment for me. I'm sure a lot of y'all who joined the hobby in early 2019 can maybe resonate, where your first build was the Tofu 60 or 65, built a fair share of them over the years, to eventually trying different keycaps, plate, switch combinations to find a build, or builds in some instances, to call home on our desk. For me, I'm still very grateful to have had the opportunity to try enough offerings under the sun to dwindle down my collection to a select few, and to have KBDFans send out their Tofu TKL to potentially be one of the last boards that I share with y'all. It's fitting, don't you think? Wow, this is heavy for what it is. And a fingerprint magnet. Aesthetically, it's giving chunky F1 vibes, at least with the way the weight wraps up the backside of the board, 9-degree typing angle, seamless side profile, block feet, and interior copper weights. It's overall pretty minimal and inoffensive, staying true to the original Tofu design that's just been refreshed to 2026. I will point out the corners are a little sharp, so watch out for that. And if this vibe isn't your cup of tea, they also have a pretty decent configurator on the website to mix and match options for some inspiration. Ultimately, I don't really have much in the way of switches left in my collection, so the only thing I had on hand are these OP Blacks with the KNC Keys Average Joe stems, and the board will be paired with the PBTFans Tape-in Radio 35 to hear what the board sounds like. From a feel and sound perspective, as you are given the option of plateless or top mounting, I think there's something for everyone. I do want to note a couple of things. I generally don't recommend building plateless with a hot swap PCB just because it can be a little unstable depending on your switch combination. It's fine in this case, but just take that with a grain of salt. And for the plateless build, feel-wise, it's decently plush. There's a nice amount of give, and it's not too tiring to type on for a prolonged period of time. Couple of things to note for that front. I do notice that the corners bottom out on the case, and with the positioning of the daughter board around the U, I, and O keys, the further you get away from it, the more flexible the board feels. Sound-wise, the alphas are decently clear and the mods are consistent sounding. I would describe it as a medium full sound profile, if that makes sense. There are some noticeable dull spots on the bottom corners of the case, and there is some hollowness when you slam the keys without any foam. Personally, I would opt for building with a plate as it basically mitigates all of the comments before, just with the trade-off of being a little firmer to type on. And before we get into some final thoughts, just want to recap some of the things I like and don't like about the Tofu TKL. Things I like, integrated force braking, magnetic daughter board, gasks on the plate, multiple mounting options, and a plethora of configuration options for different price points. Things I don't like, the 9-degree typing angle, the feet, and the lack of consistency in the flex for plateless builds. Now, I know the original group buy for the Tofu TKL has already ended. KBDFans has announced that they're planning on releasing an R2 in Q2 of this year, so if you are interested, I'll have all the links down below. If you did want to spec your board out like mine, I think it'll run you about $240 before shipping and taxes, but if you down-spec to the floor model, I think it's about $215, which I think is roughly in line with the original Tofu 60 and 65, but still understandably a bit high for a quote-unquote entry-level board. Especially if you're to buy keycaps and switches all in, you'd probably be at like the low 300s, maybe 350s. However, with the amount of flexibility in terms of options and the mounting solutions, price to value wise, I think it's roughly on par. I probably wouldn't be disappointed if this was one of my first builds. All in all, it's got decent acoustics, inoffensive aesthetics, and an alright price point with just a few quirks. If you are interested, I'll have all the links down below. Thanks again to KBDFans for sending this out to me. And I hope to see you on the next one, whether it's keyboard related or not. Thanks. Have a good one.